Doug Poore joins us now. He's the curator for the Greater Harrington Historical Society Museum. And Harrington Raceway is going on right now for their 2019 spring meet. So of course we wanted to come here and check out what they have on display as far as horse racing is concerned. But before we do that, just tell me a little bit about the museum.
The museum just celebrated 40 years. It was started in 1977 by a group of local citizens who wanted to preserve the town's history. Since then, they've accumulated over 50,000 artifacts in 3 different buildings, and we're looking to expand soon because we're literally bulging at the seams, which is a good problem to have. The city's 150th anniversary is this year, so we've added some stuff for that. The fair's 100 years old, so we've got some things on display for that. So things come in all the time. We shift things around, make it new and fresh, so it's not the same place when you come back the next time.
That's great. Okay. Now we're going to talk horse racing. Harrington Raceway, part of our Delaware history, of course. You know, it's right in the backyard here. Have you been to the races?
I have, several times. I learned through being here, Harrington was one of the first pari-mutuel standardbred tracks in the country. As a matter of fact, one of the first, probably the first on the East Coast to have betting at it. So I've learned a lot of the history, but I've also been several times.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't want him taking my job. He knows a little too much, okay? All right, first thing I need to show everybody, because this is like, okay, so you know how there's Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark? He's looking for that treasure, you know? This is it right here. I'm Indiana Jones, and when I found out that this was here at the museum, so can I pick this up?
Absolutely,
Is that okay?
feel free.
Oh my gosh. All right, so you've got to check this out. This trophy was given to Harry Hersey, who is the driver of Dan Patch. So in October of 1905, when Dan Patch took that world record mile in Lexington, Kentucky, and he did it, well, back then they were doing fourths of a second instead of fifths of a second. That's how they timed out races. So he went a mile in 1:55 and 1/4, okay? So in Harry Hersey's will, he says, the driver with the horse that beats Dan Patch's record will get this trophy. Now, who was that driver? Glad you asked. It was a Luther Lyons. Luther Lyons was from the Greenwood, Harrington area and competed right here in the hub of Delaware. So Luther Lyons ends up getting this trophy because Adios Harry broke Dan Patch's record in 1955, and Adios Harry, actually, I believe was the first horse to be on the front of Sports Illustrated, and he went in 1:55 in 1955. So anyway, whenever I hold this trophy, I always think, oh my gosh, like Dan Patch's DNA is on here. So, so I'm like,
I guess that's a good way to look at it.
Oh, so cool, so cool. And that's here. That's here in this museum.
It is.
Unbelievable.
And as I told you after our last visit and you and I talked, I did some more studying and some more reading, and I didn't realize just how famous this horse was and how much this meant to not just little old Delaware, but across the country, how famous this horse was and how much of a big deal breaking this record really was. So to have it here is just great. It's an icon to leave in here, and as we grow our horse racing display, I can't wait to continue to have it as that centerpiece.
Yeah, you know, Dan Patch, if you don't know who he was, obviously he was a great horse who was 50 years ahead of his time, because he takes this record in 1905. It takes 50 years for another horse to break Dan Patch's record. He was like the Michael Jordan of the sport as far as endorsements, you know. He endorsed everything from washer machines to feed, had his own train. He went across the country. Nobody could beat him, so he just did tours.
I even learned there's a line in The Music Man of one of the songs singing, and his name is mentioned in a song. So I'm thinking that's pretty famous. If you get a part of a song in a Rodgers and Hammerstein's Broadway play, you might be somebody important.
That's right. Exactly. Okay, I'm going to leave this for 2 seconds, and we're going to show a couple other things. So, although, I just want to touch this all day long. It's so fascinating to me. All right. You can tell a harness chick now when she grabs onto something like that and just doesn't want to let go of it. All right, so now we've got some more recent famous horses here. First of all, hey, let's start with this amazing cooler up here, right? This
Rainbow Blue, yeah. Of course, as you well know, local horse went on to become hugely famous across our country.
And that's the track and stakes record. Holy cow, 149-2. Rainbow Blue made it look easy.
She was Horse of the Year, Rainbow Blue. She's a part of the Teague stable, and so proud of Rainbow Blue. And also there's Wiglet Jiglet. We've got a couple Wiglet Jiglet things here. He was the 2015 Horse of the Year, also from the Teague stable. So it's so cool. We have his shoes here in the museum, right?
We do.
Coming home, lost for words, Wiglet Jiglet. Coming home, lost for words, Wiglet Jiglet, a final surge! 149, 3/5.
And of course, we have our newest horse you might be a little familiar with, Heather. I'm not quite sure here. I think you might know this horse over my right shoulder here.
Oh my gosh, Chartin. Now, who would have brought those things here to the museum? But no, she deserves to be here. She's a millionaire, and she was a runner-up for Horse of the Year last year for 2018. She is actually the first pacing mare in the history of the sport to win $1 million in one season. Although she's a New Zealand native, she lives and is trained and co-owned right here in Harrington, Delaware. So I was very happy though that you had asked me about her and we could have some of her things on display. So it's very cool, very honored.
Chartin digging deep. Chartin's gonna dig in here and get the win here. Chartin, tough on the front end. Said none shall pass.
It's our pleasure. We like to keep the history going. The only thing I really don't have in here is an award from last year's Harness Writers Association winner. I'm hoping maybe I can get something from her to put in a case too, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we will see how that goes. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm blushing. Yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate that. There's a couple other things here. We've got a lot of, colors on display, some different people. Mitch Fisher, Joe Adamo. We've got Maurice Skinner, so Del Mangus, a lot of different colors on display. Ed Hobbs, of people that are well-known here.
Well-known, raced in Harrington, lived around the Harrington area. Citizens harness racing, as you know, has always been a huge part of this community. When they redid the development money and the casinos came into play, it really pumped, as you're well aware, a lot of money back into it. It really brought the sport back alive around here, and you can still see that in the citizens that are involved in that today. I mean, so it's really a community. As much as it's a multi-million-dollar sport, it's still a community-based project, and that's really nice to have here.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate that plug for harness racing because we have a huge agricultural business here. It's second to chickens, and between the green acres and the trickle-down effect, I can't tell you how important it is to our economics here in Delaware.
One of the largest employers around.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Now that we've seen this incredible harness racing display, let's talk about when everyone can come out and check it out.
As part of the city's 150th and our give back to the community, we're going to have a large Memorial Day celebration, a color run actually, starting at 7, so maybe you and the boys can come out and run around town. And then at 9 o'clock, we're going to do a Memorial Day parade, followed by a ceremony to the Clark and Harrington families, who founded and the town is named after, and 3 local veterans who really are true heroes of the sense. We're going to be dedicating the day to them. And the rest of the day, the local soda fountain that is now up and running will be open. So come out and grab a old-fashioned soda or ice cream float and tour what we have for you to see.
Awesome. Thank you. I can't wait. I hope you guys come out for that day. It's really going to be great. Thank you, Doug, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you.